So, welcome back to Rose to Freedom and continuing the series on how to run a faster 5K today. Just want to take a short look at some of the other factors beyond running that will help you to run a faster 5K. So, perhaps first and foremost, actually, would be sleep. So, sleep. It's increasingly being recognised that sleep is probably the most important thing that we can do well. Because if we don't sleep properly, then all of the physiological processes in our body are put at risk, basically. So you won't be able to recover from training properly, you won't feel fresh enough to train properly, you won't adequately repair the damage to the muscles that you've done with training. You won't, you'll just be completely underperforming and massively increasing your injury risks. So we live in this macho culture where we're encouraged to work long hours, be busy, and boast about how little sleep we've had and yet how well we can still function. This is all complete bravado and nonsense, of course, and it's perpetuated by people like Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, who both claim to be able to get by and function very well on just a couple of hours sleep a night, I believe. Unfortunately, it didn't end very well for either of them. I think Thatcher ended up getting cancer, and Reagan was struck down with Parkinson's, I believe. So, it's it's easy to be wise after the event, but one of the best things you can do, most important thing you can do, really, is to sleep properly, because that will also lead into the next topic, which is nutrition. So if you don't sleep very well, then you're going to make some very poor food choices the following day. It's well established that poor sleep raises insulin levels, makes you practically pre-diabetic, I understand, so that you will tend to crave sugars more. You will not be able to function as the fat burning machine that we want you to be, and your performance will just be generally much undermined. So in terms of nutrition, I think when you are in your 20s and 30s, it's very easy for the body to adapt to and tolerate lots and lots of stuff that you can't get away with once you reach the age of 40 or 50. So when I was 30, my nutrition was terrible. Nutrition wasn't even considered to be important in those days. It was considered almost irrelevant to sport, to good health. It was just there. It wasn't considered from a performance point of view or a health point of view hardly at all. But over the last 20 or 30 years, especially, there's been a lot of research into performance, and there's lots of different ways of eating out there, of course. It's very hard to distinguish the genuine scientific research from most of the research which is funded by large vested interests like Coca-Cola and Kellogg's, and so a lot of the stuff that we take for granted is just really just marketing by these companies, and I wouldn't take all of it too seriously. You have to experiment for yourself and find out what works for you. So what I can say has worked for me, and I've only really practiced this and learnt this over the last 5 or 6 years, is that it's performance and health and weight management improve enormously when you reduce the processed carbohydrates in your diet, so particularly the grains. Grains, they're marketed as this great heart healthy kind of stuff, but they massively spike your insulin level, and they have a very glycemic load very often. So white rice, for example, has a massive glycemic load, and the same goes for starchy tubers like baked potato, for example, has a massive glycemic load, and yet people have been encouraged to eat this kind of stuff as a healthy option. Be far better off, in my view, and certainly my experience and the experience of a lot of my clients, to try and do away with as many of the processed carbs as possible. Eat a little fruit, certainly. Try and focus around eating good quality, healthy fats and protein. So we're looking at things like fish, meat, nuts, eggs, seeds, vegetables. So try to get most of your carbohydrate in the form of fruits and vegetables, and that way you'll be getting all the micronutrients you require as well. Whereas if you're just eating wheat-based stuff, which is what most of the food-like products are in the supermarkets, most of your options do include wheat, which is linked with all kinds of neurological and other physical ailments, practically everything under the sun. So be very wary of the marketing messages coming out, and just have a think about, are they really in the interest of you and public health generally, or are they just thinking about selling you more product? Anyway, nutrition is a big factor, and if you can train yourself to burn fat for fuel, particularly for the longer distances, then you will have a massive advantage in terms of being able to keep going for longer, rather than getting this carbohydrate crash, which occurs every 90 minutes to 2 hours, which requires constant feeding with more carbohydrate. It's been said that if you can access the body fat on you, so on average you could run something like 630 miles without needing to refuel. I'm not one to try it, never have tried it, don't think I will try it, but that just kind of shows you the power of burning fat for fuel and adapting to that. So you adapt to it by the nutrition you take in, the types of foods that you eat, maybe throw in a little bit of intermittent fasting now and again, maybe just skipping a meal, extending your fast a little bit. Nothing necessarily too extreme for me personally, but you can have quite an effect on your fat composition. So if you're carrying even a few extra kilos of body fat, this is going to make a massive difference to your 5K time. I kind of worked out through comparing my racing weights with racing times that 1 kilo of extra weight, okay, we're not talking necessarily about body fat, but extra weight, extra kilo of weight actually equated probably to about 10 seconds per mile, also per kilometre over 5K. So 1 kilo of extra weight, 50 seconds extra on your time, or 50 seconds off your time, however you look at it. So so many people think that it is just a question of, I can burn off these calories, and it's really not about that at all. It's about hormones, what's going on hormonally in your body, and insulin particularly. The stress hormone cortisol also plays a big part in weight management and hence performance and good health. So try in whatever way you feel works for you to keep your body fat low, as low as possible, and that's probably one of the most important things that we can do that's easily controllable to bring our times down. Going to be far more effective than hours and hours of interval training to actually just lose 4 or 5 kilos of body fat, and you're going to achieve the same result, if not better, and be healthier for it. So if you need any help on the nutrition side for running, just give me a call. What other things should we think about that are not directly related to running? We're going to look at strength and conditioning and mobility next time. But what else is there to say today? Well, stress we've mentioned. So any stress that you've got in your work or your relationships is going to massively impact your training. So you need to manage your training around your lifestyle stresses, or manage your lifestyle stresses around your training, whichever way you look at it. But these will play a big part in your success. So avoiding stress, obviously there's an amount of stress involved in training hard regularly and trying to go faster. But if this is compounded by lack of sleep, poor nutrition, difficulties at work, relationship problems, then really you are going to be struggling no matter what you do. So all of these pieces are absolutely crucial to improving 5K performance. And I think that just about wraps it up for today. If you've got any questions, please post them below or get in touch. So it's Dave at Road to Freedom, so info@roadtofreedom.net or 07504 439 Please subscribe to the channel and like my video, and then I'll do some more if you can bear them. See you soon. Bye.